The marshal's son had affairs with many women and eventually died from overwork. The funeral parlor was filled with all kinds of short skirts and stockings that he favored in life. Just as the funeral was proceeding normally, the marshal saw his son's foot twitch. Before he could react, another uninvited guest arrived at the funeral parlor. She was the marshal's son's fiancée during his lifetime, the daughter of the infamous mafia boss. This time she came to break off the engagement. The mafia's influence on Shanghai's Bund was immense. They didn't even regard the marshal, who held a large army, as any threat, so the fiancée dared to wreak havoc in the funeral parlor without restraint. However, the unthinkable happened. The marshal's son suddenly awoke from his unconscious stupor. Seeing the decorations, he thought it was a prank reality show. Everyone was stunned at this sight. They mistakenly believed the marshal's son had resurrected himself. Upon hearing this, the young man realized he had transmigrated. He was originally a modern-day professional hitman. After being betrayed, his soul inhabited the body of the marshal's son who looked exactly like him. However, the marshal's son from the past was nothing but a spoiled playboy. The fiancé was still determined to call off the engagement with him. The marshal had planned to say some good words to salvage the marriage alliance, only because he clearly knew that he could die in battle at any moment. If one day he died, at least his son would still have the mafia to rely on. Unexpectedly, the young man actually agreed to call off the engagement, simply because he was no longer the spoiled marshal's son of the past. With his modern-day memories, he was certain he could thrive in this Republic of China era. It wouldn't take long. He would soon make his fiancée realize how foolish it was to break off the engagement today. The marshal was furious at his son's decision, but in order to satisfy his son's interests and hobbies, he still helped fulfill his son's last wish before death, to go teach at the renowned St. Maria Girls' School. The young man didn't expect that, after the marshal's son died, such a great romantic opportunity would be left for him. But at that moment he remembered that the marshal's son had also been murdered. This was clearly a long-planned conspiracy, so he decided to first go to the casino, where the young marshal was killed, to uncover the truth. But when he arrived at the casino, he learned that the marshal had already sent people to investigate the entire casino, so he casually found a private room to sit down and rest. Unexpectedly, as soon as he stepped outside, he ran into a girl who was equally drunk. Not until he woke up the next morning did the young man realize something was off. Then he understood that they had slept together the previous night. Taking advantage of the fact that the girl was still asleep, he hurriedly put on his clothes. He placed the only money he had left on the table as an apology. Then he went to the school to prepare for class. As soon as he entered, he ran into his fiancée who had just broken off the engagement with him. Absurdly, the girl being protected behind his fiancée was her close friend. She was the very girl who had slept with him last night. The fiancée said that this was a girls' school. She intended to stop the guy from entering, but unexpectedly, the young man was their new homeroom teacher. The girls attending this school were all wealthy and powerful aristocrats. They couldn't possibly look up to the guy, a spoiled young master. Whenever the guy turned around, the classmates would throw countless hidden weapons at him. When he turned back, he remained calm once more. This time, the guy was smarter. At the first sound, he immediately turned his head. It turned out that this time they threw a water balloon. In an instant, the guy was soaked like a drowned rat. Seeing this, everyone burst into laughter. Yet they didn't know that angering the guy would have serious consequences.